All right. Thank you, Ratna, for joining me on Tête-à-Tête this week. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you, Hanniz?
I'm good, thank you as well. It's a very bright and sunny day today. It's been raining the past few days. I don't know how
Yes,
it's
I
like.
know. I know my laundry outside, so thankfully it didn't get wet. I managed to salvage it.
Okay, so I'm just gonna introduce you to our guest today. So Ratna, she has actually developed curriculums. She's written articles. She's conducted both online and face-to-face workshops for teachers from around the world on language and teaching. So 4 years ago, right now, you founded Leeds Learning Academy and set up
That's
the
right.
official FB page called Yay, I Can Speak To. So this is with the fundamental aim of building confidence in kids to speak and express themselves bravely to an audience. So
Absolutely.
that's super cool, and I think that's very important, especially now when kids are sometimes feeling they just don't have the confidence to speak up in class or among their peers or even to their seniors, right? So what are the programs offered, and how long do you consider a term?
Okay, so thanks very much, Hanniz, for having me online. As you know, I'm Ratna, and I'll just give a very short outline of why I started this. So basically, I've been teaching children for a long time, and I've been interacting with parents a lot as well as observing our education system. And I find that there's actually a gap in our local education system where children are not really allowed to express themselves in school. They have to do projects, they got to present, but they're not taught how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then a lot of parents complain about their kids, saying my child is shy, my child is not able to speak up. So it's all putting all this together and addressing the gap that we've got in the system is what caused me to come up with Leeds Learning Academy and Yeah, I Can Speak To. So
Mm-hmm.
my classes at the moment, we've gone online, by the way, because of the pandemic, but generally it's all workshop based for
Okay.
the past 4 years. It's a 2 or 3 day workshop.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got workshops that have the art of storytelling. I've got
Mm-hmm.
confidence in presentation. So I've got confident junior presenters for 10 to 12-year-old kids. And then I've got confident little junior presenters, which is for
Mm-hmm.
6 to 9-year-old kids. All right.
Okay.
And it's all theme based. All right.
All right.
So for presentation skills, I've got one which is Adventure Island. And then,
Interesting.
yeah, so they got a, kind of like the based on the Lost series
Yeah.
where they have to solve, they get lost on an island, they crash on an island, they got to um, sort out how they're going to survive for the next
Mm-hmm.
1 week with
Mm-hmm.
random things that they find from an aircraft. And then using that, so they got to come up with a plan and things like that. And then using that, I teach them how to present it. So it's very context based, it's very theme based, and it's a whole process that's involved in it. And then I've
Yeah.
got the same thing with Lego.
Ah.
Yeah, so basically they got to invent a solution to a common daily life problem. We don't go global yet. I mean, we all have problems on a daily basis. Forget about the global problem. There are lots of people trying to solve that. So, daily problems. So kids come up with things like no time for homework. Parents who are working can't clean their homes, and then they got to design something with Lego to solve
Mm-hmm.
this problem. And then they learn how to present their product. They learn
Interesting.
the whole works of presentation skills, the whole thing. The steps, body language, throwing your voice, everything, all those things. But it's very kid friendly.
Mm.
And I've got the final one of it, which is a writing workshop, a creative writing workshop. It's 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
By far the most challenging because a lot of us can speak, the same lot of us can't write.
Yeah.
So this is a huge problem in Malay with among Malaysian kids as well. It's a challenge. So
Okay.
they end up producing sometimes after the workshop, they end up producing about 10 to 20 pages of a book,
All right.
sometimes 10 pages of a story. So they work really hard during their workshop, and then, um, but they're always satisfied at the end. One of the things about my workshop is the end of the workshop, you always see a product of what they have achieved.
Something tangible.
Something tangible, absolutely. So for the
Mm.
speaking ones, at my center, we've got a stage. They actually stand on the stage and then they present or stand on the stage and they tell their stories.
Yeah.
You give them that exposure that they probably won't get in school if they're not among the cream of the crop. of
Mm.
the storytellers or the champion speakers in school, and then they
Mm-hmm.
just get lost in the system, and then they end up in university and they can't speak,
Yeah.
right? So I provide the platform for them to actually do things that, to get the exposure, to get the experience, to know it's okay, it's not as difficult as they think it is. Once they know, then that's it, then they're good to go.
Yeah. And I guess it's a bit more tricky because now they just used to using short forms on their mobile phones, and then they
Oh
need to do
yeah, yes,
whole
yes.
process of thinking it through and making fuller sentences.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, that's the whole idea of the workshop. It's not just the end product, it's a very process based workshop. So they learn a lot of things. It's not just the language part, but they learn how to present and things like that. They got to work together with partners. They got to learn how to collaborate one another. They got to learn how to design their presentation. They got to learn how to divide how much do you speak, how much does my partner speak. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a whole. Sometimes you get two kids who are completely at odds with one another, just like us adults. They
Yeah.
cannot get along, so they got to iron things out. They have to find a way. And I say, listen, guys, you've got 30 minutes. You can either choose to fight and argue and then end up failing during the presentation,
Mm-hmm.
or you can end up to, learn how to work um, with
Yes.
your differences
Yeah.
and work together. So they learn a lot more than what is written on the outline of the presentation. They actually come out as I think they come out as new individual. They're born as new individual after the workshops that they attend.
Okay. Reborn.
Reborn, yeah, reborn, exactly, yeah.
But okay, because now you are conducting your workshops online, and
Yeah.
how long are these workshops during the day? Because our attention spans are like reduced when
Oh
it's
yeah,
done.
yeah, absolutely, yeah. So initially it was, I've always wanted to get my stuff online, to go
Mm-hmm.
online. I've
Mm-hmm.
conducted online workshops and training sessions for teachers many years ago, but
Mm-hmm.
teachers are adults, it's
Yeah.
different. But how do you do it with kids, right? So what I did was I've actually split the workshop up into 8 classes,
Okay.
younger kids. So it's like 8 classes of 45 minutes.
Okay.
The fee is less as well, right? Of course, it's different because it's online, so a lot of fluff gets cut off. Like, I don't print materials for them; they got to print their own materials.
Mm-hmm.
There's no face-to-face interaction, and it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
But it actually took me by surprise. It has been going really, really well.
Good
You
to
know,
know.
yeah, I didn't expect that at all from them. So it's 45 minutes for 8 classes for the younger kids. The
Mm-hmm.
older kids have got a longer class session. They've got a 1 hour, an hour, 10 minutes around that. They 10 to 12, 10 and above, they're fine. They
Yeah.
don't get fidgety and everything.
Mm.
7 to 9, it's not possible. You can push up to 45 maximum. Anything more than that,
That's
teacher,
it.
I want to go to the toilet. Teacher, I want to eat. Teacher, I am hungry. Teacher.
Or they just want to
That's or they just don't listen. Yeah, the advantage of the workshops is that I get very small amounts coming in. I don't get many students. I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
get many students, so I
Mm-hmm.
keep it to a maximum of between 6 to 8,
Okay.
not more than it. Sometimes even at 6, I cut off.
Mm.
So I'm constantly interacting with them, each one of them, so they don't actually have the chance to lose focus, or escape,
Yeah.
and then it's quite interactive as well, because the storytelling is all about like expressing yourself, changing your face expressions,
Yeah.
throwing your voice. So they're standing up, sitting down, standing up, so they are quite in. There's no time for them actually to get bored.
Yeah.
So it's possible, and
Mm-hmm.
it has been working well. And like I told you, the final session is always the one where they go on stage. We
Mm-hmm.
have been having really successful online stage performance as well.
Really?
Yeah, I get nervous, I get excited. I couldn't believe it. They get dressed up. Some of the kids get dressed up as the characters in their stories.
Uh-huh.
They would actually perform. They get nervous. They have the same that jittery feeling that they have if they go on a stage, because they know everyone else is watching.
Yeah. And I see a
Parents
lot
are
of
nervous.
photos on your Facebook with all the costumes.
Yeah, so we do it on so I have my sessions on Google Meet,
Mm-hmm.
or usually it's on Google Meet, because
Mm-hmm.
I've got an account with Google, so it's quite a long session, and it's
Mm-hmm.
much more stable, I find, as well. Like, sound is really good. I don't get like sudden missing images or videos.
Yeah.
And so they actually stand up. So you would see like their bedroom on the background, and they'd be standing in front of the camera performing a story and things like that. And they do learn. They do learn, which I think, I think end of the day, it is really not what the platform for teaching is. I just think it is the teacher and the students, and just how well you build the rapport with them, how much dynamics you have with them. I think it's
Super.
the same in all classes. You can have the best lesson plan, you can have the best curriculum, but if you don't have a teacher who's able to deliver it,
Yeah.
it all goes down the drain, to be honest. So I think it's and also the relationship you have with the students as well.
Mm-hmm.
So all of these come to play when you teach children.
Very good insights. And okay, so what you've already covered what a child can be expected to do
Okay.
at your workshops. Are actually you've done a lot of explanations. Can you tell us one story of an amazing transformation that you've seen a child go through once they've enrolled in your program or your workshop?
Okay, so one of the concerns parents always have is like they say, hey, it's just a 2-day workshop.
Mm,
How are you going to achieve things? All right. So what I do is I record a video of them before I train them, and then
mm-hmm,
I record, and then they get to watch the final performance, and they can assess the difference that takes place. And they're also realistic. I think I also tell parents to be realistic about their expectations as well. It's a
mm-hmm.
2-day workshop. I invite parents to come to stage and speak. No one wants to speak. They all look at the floor. Everybody become ostriches. They need to understand that with children they're even more nervous.
Yeah.
So these are some things they need to keep in mind. So there was once a little boy. I remember him. I think if I'm not mistaken, his name was Jaden. Right. So he's about 7 years old. His mom got him enrolled in two of my workshops: the art of storytelling and the little junior presentation skills. So art of storytelling. The first day he came in, refused to join the classes, hiding under the table, crying, fidgeting, pulling his, handkerchief, and barely audible. The first presentation on stage, barely audible. Just whispers, coming out of his mouth.
Okay,
It's
marvelous you say.
yeah, it is a huge challenge for me and my teaching assistant when the child just refuses it, because there's a lot of pep talk that goes on. You got to take them out of the room, you got to talk to them. So that was the first video. And then the second day, he was shy, but he got on stage. So that is an achievement. So we need to remember that every child is different. All right.
Mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm,
some children are naturally, maybe, naturally they like the limelight, they like the attention, they may have that experience as well. But as some children, it's a brand new thing for them. So you can't compare the achievement of one child to another. It never works that way. And
mm-hmm.
parents are made aware of that. Right. So for this boy, just standing on stage and looking at that huge audience and just telling a story was a great thing.
Yeah.
All right. So for him, and that was the first workshop. And then 1 week later, he came for the second workshop. He was more cheerful, maybe because he knew me and he knew that he was the one, like the senior one in class, because everybody else is new. And then we found out that he's actually he's quite a funny boy. He's got a pretty good sense of humor. So during his presentation, he was far more confident. It was unbelievable. Like, he was smiling. He managed to squeeze in a joke. It was just, I couldn't believe it. I was like, is this kid? Even I couldn't believe it from someone who was
Yeah.
just barely audible. And then the last day he was smiling. I think this is just who he is.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's always who you are
Somehow,
that
somehow you broke the ice
some
with.
yeah, so that's another thing with teaching kids.
Mm,
You need to there is a line between, well, number one, you can't be egoistic with the kid. All right, you can't have the adult ego around you. You can't talk like a smart aleck in front of a kid. It doesn't work that way. You have to go down to the child's level. You have to make them feel really comfortable with you. Any class that you have, the first thing you do is build trust, rapport, and the dynamics with the kids and between the kids. So always start a class that way.
mm-hmm.
Once the kid trusts you, once the child thinks that, but also there's also a fine line So they know you are the teacher, so they know they don't cross their boundaries. So there is, it's a really fine line between making them feel comfortable, but they also know the class rules are there and the consequences of breaking the class rules.
Mm-hmm.
So, it comes with experience. The more you teach kids, the more you get into it. You actually, so, if you become too friendly, they'll chili
Start
gile.
all over you,
Yeah,
yeah.
they're all over you. So they know that they can approach you. They can express themselves. They can tell you you're wrong. They can tell you you've made a mistake, and you're not going to bark up the tree, or you're not going to shout at them, or not shout, but you're not going to
Punish
belittle
them.
them or anything.
Yeah,
Yeah, punish them or put them down, saying, so they know they can do that. At the same time, they know you're the teacher, they know they've got the class rules. It's actually not difficult. If you're passionate about teaching kids, it's
yeah,
you get it, you just do it. End of the day, you just end up liking it.
yeah,
And it's tiring sometimes. Kids, you got to be on your feet at all times, right? And kids are very honest, they're not like adults.
yeah.
If they don't like it and it's boring, they will tell you, teacher, this is boring.
Yeah.
Yeah, or
That's right.
teacher, this is, I can't do this anymore. With adults, we just have that facade where we just put up a face, and then we just probably speak about people. It was
Behind our back.
horrible, the workshop is bad, and then, oh no, it was really, but kids are not like that. It's
Yeah,
an advantage actually, because they're very honest about what they feel about the workshop.
yeah.
And if they like you, they're willing to come for the next workshop by themselves, without being coerced by their parents.
It's amazing stuff you're doing right now.
Thank you.
So right now, we've come to the end of our session. I would like to let people connect with you. So how can people contact you to take up to enroll their kids in your workshop?
Okay, so it's very simple. There are two ways. Number one, you can go to my Facebook page. Yay, I can speak too. All right, it's easy to find. You will see me there. You'll see all my classes there. Click on it, like us, follow us, and you'll get all updates. The second thing you can do is actually you can give me a call or drop me a WhatsApp message. My number is quite public and it's quite out there.
Okay.
Interestingly, I've never had calls
No,
like
don't say it yet. You don't
yeah.
want to
So
do it.
yeah, no, yeah, but it's been okay. So my number is 010-771-4670. So I'll
Okay.
repeat that again: 010-771-4670. So
Thank you
we've been,
so
yeah.
much. Yes, so if you are looking to build confidence in your kids, to let them enjoy the art of storytelling, you must enroll them into Ratna's workshops, and you know how to reach her already. So thank you again for joining us, Ratna.
You're
Please
most
subscribe.
welcome, Hanniz, and thank you.
You're most welcome. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we'll see you next week.
All right, bye. Take care.
Bye. Thank you.
You're welcome.